Hello everyone. Today is 11th of March 2025, Tuesday, and this is Teri. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Amethystastrotarot. And today I have my friend Gwen, whom you all know. At least some of you know from the interviews that we made and all the chats that we made. Also, she's golden pumped on Instagram, and she's writing on Substack really very nice stuff about tree of life and everything related with that. Welcome, Gwen. If you want, you may also introduce yourself in case someone doesn't know you.
Yeah. Well, hi, Terry. Well, thank you for having me back. Yes, I think that's pretty much it, actually. Yes, I'm on Instagram. It's the golden pomegranate. And so my username is golden pumped, as you say, because I was looking for golden palm, but when you look up golden palm, it's all about the dogs, golden Pomeranians. So, okay. So I added the T for tarot. Um, so yes, and I do. I really enjoy Substack. I think it's a really good place to write things. So I really enjoy that. So yes, come follow me if you like. I write about and I post about the Tree of Life. I use the Thoth Tarot mostly and write about non-duality on Substack.
Yeah, in any case, I will later when I put it on YouTube and all the social media, I will put the links of Gwen, so anyone that would like to reach out to her or discuss anything or read her post on Substack or on Instagram, they can always have the links and then like follow her or contact her accordingly.
Yes.
Last time I think we were here is like was the opening of the year with the Hermit, no, right? It's like the Hermit card of the year, like, and then we had a really nice discussion. Also, Gwen has these really interesting decks, and then we were like showing cards to each
Yeah.
other. And today, why are we here? Okay, like of course, like when we are looking at this week's um things coming up in the sky. Actually, there is a lunar eclipse that is on the 14th of March, followed by a full moon in Virgo. And then we have the legendary Mercury retrograde
Yeah, everybody, yes.
in the next day. But we are here for something different. We are here for the spring equinox, the opening of the, especially at the same time, the astrological year. So for this, and that's the Aries 0 degrees, which would be on the 20th of March. The sun will start its journey in Aries at 9:02 a.m. in the morning UK time, which would be the spring equinox and new astrological year. So we would, I think, be talking about all the cards related with that, the decans and everything. So first, you go if you want.
Okay, yes. Well, so the first thing because we usually start in Aries, don't we? We start in Aries, and so I like to work with the Decan wheel. I don't have a picture of it to show, but you can find them online if you Google Decan wheel.
Yeah.
It's the 360 degrees, and each of the decans is associated with a minor arcana and also a court card, but you don't really see the court card unless you're working with the Thoth Tarot, but I have it here anyway. I'll just show you. So what I like to do is with the first decan of Aries, so our minor arcana is the Two of Wands. And this is the Thoth Tarot. And I really like this card. I think it just really is a powerful image. And it's these two dorjis from Tibetan Buddhism. And what in the practice, when you're performing a puja and you have a dorji and you have a bell, and it's considered to be kind of an instrument, even though it doesn't do anything. You just hold it. You hold it in one hand and you hold the bell in the other hand, and it's a sense of bringing things together, everything being balanced, and that providing you with this power. I mean, this card just feels like, ready to go. And so then the next thing I do is I look at the majors that are associated with the decan, and in this case, what we have is Mars and Aries. So I have Mars which is the Tower, and Aries, which is the Emperor.
Sure.
And they kind of make sense, don't they? Because when you're coming out of Pisces, it feels like, and then you go into Aries, it's quite a shock. You know, it's a real change. It's like the biggest change, isn't it? Because Pisces just feels so kind of easygoing, and then there's just, bam. So the Tower makes sense, and then the Emperor is, well, you've got to sort of keep control of that, don't you? You've got to keep control of that energy. But there is, and I never thought about that before, really, with the Tower, about it being a beginning in that sense.
Yeah, I mean it's true. I mean like that I mean for when we consider the I think northern hemisphere, it's at the end of the
Yes.
day like you are finishing kind of though it's very cold here, but kind of the winter, and then you are getting into the spring. So it's like you
Mm-hmm.
are in a way like awakening. All that hibernation, sleep
Mm-hmm.
period, etc. is coming to an end, and it's time to your batteries are charged actually
Mm-hmm.
during the winter, no, when you are a bit in a sleep mode, or it's like that everything is slow, it's cold and everything, and then it's time you are charged, and then it's time to get into action. I mean now it's time to act, I mean
Mm-hmm.
do things and then start things. So you go, I'm saying that it's for northern hemisphere. Of course it could feel in a different way for the southern hemisphere as well, but that's the area 0 degrees like go. It's like
Yeah.
it's like now time run go do
Yeah.
etc. I mean it's like you have that all this, it's like I don't think so that like in the sense like rebirth, like those phoenix and that kind of rebirth, but it's in a way it's like a reawakening,
Mm-hmm.
rejuvenation and all that thing, and then you are like saying like okay, now it's time to go ahead. And I think the tower card, I don't know, maybe in thought, it could be more Martian with everything, but I always think that in the Rider-Waite Smith, it always gives me the image of more Uranus. Sometimes it's like, because it's like, you
Mm-hmm.
are, or sometimes even Pluto, it's like, that it's something that you are putting down some structure, and
Mm-hmm.
then you are getting ready to build it. Yeah, I think it can be that kind of energy as well. And the emperor is like, yeah, that's the way. We have the way to go. We have
Mm-hmm.
to, as you said, I mean, like keep the control of the things, and like we have to come back to life and then use that energy and the power in the right way possible, for yourself. First of all for yourself, because the areas is like more like me, I
Mm-hmm.
think, when we think about it. And so it's like starting from me. In any case, everything starts from us, no, that we are
Yeah.
the root
Yeah.
of everything.
Yeah.
So if you are not good, if you are not this, if you are not that,
Mm-hmm.
then the rest is like so. So I have cards for that also.
Okay.
I mean I didn't get the major arcana, but I can show the from the alchemical tarot of Marseille.
Oh,
That
that's so
Garcia Robert
nice.
plays one of the decks, and this is more like a the union between the Mercury and Venus.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, we have the Mercury and the Venus on the other side, and they kind of make this union together, because it's like it's binded, and the fire, the energy
Mm-hmm.
comes through that. I mean, and you can think about like I don't know, Mercury is like it's more like our ideas, the thought, the way that we communicate and we express our ideas, and then like our oral or written expression and everything, and also of course other
Mm-hmm.
things are included. And Venus is more like the relating, but it's also our values. And then when they come together, it's actually a unity, that it's
Yeah.
all we are. I mean, and then with the union of that, we can start something really, I think, energetic.
Yeah.
enthusiastic, and go forward.
That's really interesting because I was just thinking about, I have my handy picture of the tree of life here.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so, um, so on the tree of life, you have Mercury and Venus,
Ah,
and
okay.
they're connected by the tower.
Oh, wow, that's very interesting. Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's if you think that, yeah, the ruler and everything. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, because it is when you have on the tree of life, you have these sephiroth on each side, and you consider them in pairs. And so Venus and Mercury are a pair. And the story is that they have a child, which is an esoteric image for Yesod here, which is the moon, and the esoteric image is a hermaphroditus, I think, yes. And so it's quite interesting that you've got that pairing there for the two of wands, because it's right down here, which is really nice, because it kind of brings it down to earth in a way, doesn't it? Because on the tree of life, that's closer to us, so it's a real kind of manifesting energy, that fire, get out there and do something.
But it's at the same time, I think there is something grounding about them as well. I mean, there is
Mhm.
this fire energy, but it's like instead of like maybe doing thing out of just control and in haste and everything, maybe
Mhm.
it's like it's saying that, okay, you have to think, you have to
Yes,
relate and everything, and then all coming together maybe gives you a better path of action in what you are doing. Of
definitely.
course, I mean, when we are thinking that like the Deccan rulers, in this case is like we are talking about Mars, both in the descending order, or what we know as Chaldean order, it's Mars, and then in triplicity, it's Mars, and the ruler is Mars. It's like Mars at the
Yes,
moment. So it's like we have this Mars, the warrior and the fighting spirit that is included in Mars. But there is a
mhm.
lot of, as I said, is like there is a lot of potential in a way.
Definitely. Yeah, they balance each other, don't they? On because on the tree of life, the way they balance is that Venus is the, well, Netzach, the Sephira that she rules here in green, is about creativity, and it's the Sephira of artists and beautiful things, but emotional things like I really want to do this. That's great. But then when you go to Mercury, it's the rational side of it, and so it helps you plan, because having just thinking that you want to do something is great, and you have this beautiful inspiration, but you really, you have to think about it. You have to be, reasonable, work things out. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I don't know, I didn't check that, of course, in the calendar, but at the moment, at least when we are talking, Mercury is still in Aries and Venus is
Ah,
retrograde, but it's in Aries. So they are actually, it's
ooh.
like when we are talking now, the sky is saying that, okay, Aries,
This
you.
Aries, yes. Yes. Oh, it's really interesting. And so the other card that I associate with the Two of Wands is a court card, the Queen of Wands. Now, the reason for this, I should have printed off. There's a particular deck and wheel. You can find it really easily online. You look up deck and wheel, and you will find one with court cards on it, but it's the Thoth court cards. So it says knight, queen, prince, and princess around the outside. And so you can coordinate those with your minor arcana. And when you do that, the Two of Wands is ruled by, she's associated by the Queen of Wands, which is quite interesting, because you would think that it might be the Knight of Wands, but he's associated with Sagittarius. But she is associated with Aries.
Does she start with the like, because with the court cards it's generally like it starts one decan before and then
Yes.
it continues like this. So does it start actually in the last decan of Pisces?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So she's 10 of Cups, Two of Wands, and Three of Wands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also it's interesting the way that the if you think of about the transition. And
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I mean, in the descending order, the last decan of Pisces is still Mars.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
are going from Mars in Pisces to Mars in Aries, from a more, of course, water energy,
Yes.
emotional, intuitive level, to a more, like, I think in a way, sometimes it feels like you are getting into more reality.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's the real world.
Definitely.
Yeah, with the Aries.
Definitely. I definitely feel more comfortable when we move into Aries. I'm a fire sign and so it's yeah, Pisces, I find it very confusing this time of year. So it's sort of when we move into the vernal
Oh,
equinox.
finally, Aries.
Oh my God, I know. Yes, exactly. So,
Well,
yeah. So it is a lot of fire coming up because we're in the decan that we're in now is 10 of Cups. I think we just moved into it yesterday.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so we're already in Mars territory and yeah.
That's also a Mars. That's interesting. I mean, that Ten of Cups, because it's like the in triplicity, it's Scorpio ruled by Mars. So again, it's
Hmm.
Mars. It's like from Mars to you go to a Mars. It's like, I think the energy is there, but of course, the expression is completely different when you think about Mars in Pisces or Mars in Aries, where it is in its home home. It's
Yes.
like where I rule. So it's
Yes.
more comfortable probably for the Mars, but still that energy continues. It's like as if that yeah, that there is this awakening is already coming through that Ten of Cups and
Hmm.
going through the Two of Wands, which is a really nice passage as well, I think. So
Yeah,
you
definitely.
are in a shock, but not in complete shock.
Yes, exactly. He kind of carries us over, doesn't he? He's sort of
Yeah,
okay, he comes in sort of in the background now, and then he'll sort of make his presence known in a little bit. So yes, that's quite yeah.
and last night, when we were discussing about the talk with Gwen, we were like talking because in the Golden Dawn, uh, we were discussing like, okay, it's the in the tropical zodiac, it's the zero Aries, and that's the equinox, and so that's the start of the astrological year, etc. And then when we were talking, and then we said, okay, but in Golden Dawn, actually, it's not. The second starts
Yeah.
with Leo, and it is then I was looking at it through the thing. Oh, I read it somewhere, and then it's related with the fixed star regulars. For, of course, very long time it was. I mean, it's in any case, it's like Corleonis. I think the other name, the
Mhm.
Latin name that is given to that. And so, due to the Regulus fixed star, Golden Dawn
Mhm.
starts the decans from the sign of Leo, which is another fire sign, but of course
Yeah.
it's a fixed sign.
Yeah.
And that's why when we think about that, it brings us to the Five of Wands. That's
Hmm.
the
Yes.
first
Yeah.
deck which you have. Yeah, it's strife. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Saturn. So it's a Saturn card, which is quite interesting. So yeah, with it's funny, isn't it, just to think about the because I'm so attuned to the idea of it being the Two of Wands, and starting there and then starting with this card. But I guess it does make a little bit of sense, doesn't it? You might have a little bit of resistance at the beginning of the year,
Yeah, that's
as
true.
you, yeah, because that's how I interpret Saturn in Leo. Leo being a fixed energy, but still a fire sign, and still I want to do this and I want to do that, and Saturn keeping a lid on it. And so maybe this, instead of because I think that's why it's called strife. That's the feeling that I get from it, is it's that frustration, the conflict between I want to, but I can't, or at least in the way that I want to. And so at the beginning of the year, it's quite interesting because it's like Saturn maybe has still a handle on the end of the last year. It's that transformation time when Saturn and Chronos and time is kind of shifting over, and the new year is just starting to come through. So it's interesting to try to get your head around starting the year in
Yeah,
Leo and
yeah,
in that decan.
it's really interesting. I mean, like,
Hmm.
uh, also, I mean, thinking about the season, which is the end of July. I'm thinking like if it does help anything with the southern hemisphere, yeah, because that when we are coming towards the end of summer, they are coming towards the end of winter. So
Hmm.
it's the place I think in between at the end of the day. I mean, so
Hmm.
between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox, or the other way around for the southern hemisphere. So it's in a
Hmm.
way, I think I won't say that it's a transition part in a
Hmm.
way at the end of the day. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
because you got half of the summer, and then now it's time to go to I mean autumn, and then that kind of, I think with the fixed energy also, I think you can have that it's not always resistance, but it's also sometimes consistence. I mean, like, because you
Hmm.
cannot run all the time, no,
Hmm.
or change things all the time. You sometimes need that stability
Hmm.
to at least establish some of the things that you have already gained. Maybe
Yes.
you need to change at a point, which may be sometimes challenging for a fixed sign, but at the end of the day, yeah, you have to get that stability and the
Hmm.
control and the consistency in a way that has been started with the cardinal way, all that
Hmm.
initiation, all that the energy that comes through that. So I think it's in the at the end of the day, it's really interesting in that sense, because I think with the areas when you start, which is the what we do, of course, the decan walk, etc. start, but it's kind of a bit still a raw energy. No, it's like
Hmm.
every zero in any
Yeah.
case, you think you are not there yet.
Yeah.
You start to try to find
Yeah.
your place and everything, and then I
Yeah.
think the more action comes. You establish first what am I going to do, and then after you do that, and then you say that now it's like also in Rider Waite Smith, isn't it like that? I mean, like when you look at two of wands and then
Hmm.
the three of wands.
Hmm.
Okay, I did. Now where else to conquer? No,
Yes, it's
there,
true. Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's interesting what you were saying about the transition time of year too, because the first decan of Leo, it ends right on a holiday called Lunasa in Scotland, or Lammas. It ends on, I think those are called cross quarter days, Imbolc and Lunasa and Samhain and Beltane. And so it ends exactly at the transition between the 5 and the 6 is when you usually have Lunasa, and it's considered to be the first of the harvest festivals. So it's kind of the really, your first. I'm not all that familiar with plants, but I think maybe wheat is when you start harvesting that, because it's usually Lammas means, in Old English was loaf mass is what they say. So it was about you would make your first loaf and celebrate it that way. So it's maybe that's your first harvest, and then later in the year you have things like squashes and um, yeah, so it is very interesting that you do have that transition,
I
at the
mean,
end of this decan.
I think it's for all the, at the end of the day, for the fixed signs, they stand for that. If you think that the way that they stand in the middle of that, all those transitions from between the equinox and solstices, the other way around,
Yes,
that's
yes.
the all the time, that's the period that they are those fixed signs. And yeah, you will see, I mean, like with the Taurus, it's the same, and then the Leo
Yeah,
is the same, and then the Scorpio
yeah.
is the same. So you will see all those transitions with them, all the fixed signs at the
Hmm.
end of the day. So that's interesting. Do you have any other five of wands or anything?
Well, I have for the Five of Wands, I was looking at the majors, and so we've got Saturn in Leo. So Saturn is the world,
Yeah, yes,
which makes
I know.
sense. And in the Thoth Tarot, Leo is usually associated with strength. In the Thoth Tarot, that's changed to lust, which is very much in alignment with it's your lust for life is what it means. And the imagery here is very much part of Crowley's his religion, Thelema, and his idea of the Aeon of Horus. So this is sort of reclaiming the divine feminine, really, in this card. So it's interesting to kind of bring in those energies, isn't it? And think about Saturn at the end, at the end, because it's the last major arcana, and then going back in, with in the sign of Leo. So I do like to do that. And then the court card is the Prince of Wands, which I read as the King of Wands.
Okay,
Yeah. So I know it's kind of I think I'm sure I read this somewhere, but it makes more sense to me. It's about where you assign the court cards on the Tree of Life if you have a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And I still put the knights up here in Klokma, and so I put the kings here with the princes.
okay,
And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people put kings here and then knights here so that you have the queen and the king together. But because I work with the elements and the four worlds, the fire card needs to be here. And I think kings work better with air and knights work better with fire. So
fire.
that's maybe just me, but just so everybody knows that you can put the kings. So you might want to call this a knight.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like with the Leo, the strength, and the with the Saturn is the world. Of course, I mean the world is at the end of the day. It's like Saturn is sometimes, of course, not sometimes. I mean, traditional astrology is also associated with death. That's
Mm-hmm.
why in the death card, in
Mm-hmm.
Marseille decks, etc., sometimes with the the
Scythe,
site,
yeah.
site,
Mm-hmm.
etc., it's more like a Saturnian
Mm-hmm.
image rather
Mm-hmm.
than the I think anything else. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's like yeah, that it's the cycle. I mean, like that all the ends bring new beginnings, and then
Mm-hmm.
you start something and then you end again, and it's all those goals and all the cycle. In a way, the world brings us to the end of the journey
Mm-hmm.
that we start from the full. But is it the really end, or
Mm-hmm.
it's ending for a
Yeah.
for another journey to start? So I think that's the uh, thing coming true, that in the end it could be some end, but it could be some start as
Mm-hmm.
well. I mean, and then for that you need strength, no? Whatever you are
Yeah.
leaving behind, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
you need the strength to move forward, which is more like not like strength like like this,
Yes.
but it's more like that inner strength
Yes.
at the end of the day.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's also interesting to look at where you put them on the tree of life because if you're looking at the two of wands, I'll hold this up here. So the two of wands is plotted here at in Chokmah, and the fives are here in Gevora, which is ruled by Mars. And so if you're starting at the top, I think that's one reason why, Aries, it makes a lot of sense. The twos, because the twos are all plotted up here, because the Sephira number two, that's how you plot them on the tree, is you see the number of the Sephira and then the minor goes. So you have all your twos here. And in Chokmah, it's not associated with a planet because it's associated with the zodiac. So nothing really happens until you get to Bina. You've got all of the zodiac here, the entire universe, all potential. And then when you move into Bina, Bina is associated with Saturn, and that's the first one. And then you have your Chaldean order coming down the tree. So I like that, associating that with the twos, and that actually really helped me understand the twos, all of the twos, a lot more, is to think, well, nothing's really happened yet. Even, you think about the Rider-Waite-Smith and the Two of Wands, and he's still standing inside the ramparts of his castle. And he's looking out and he's got the world in his hand, and it's like he's almost holding it outside the walls, but he's still inside the walls. So it's all potential still.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Uh, I have some other five or ones which are
Okay.
interesting because
Mm.
these are, I think this is the tarot of the sevenfold mystery, and this is
Mm-hmm.
the alchemical tarot of Marseille, and
Mm-hmm.
this I think it shows, I think, a kind of lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this, I mean, like you see that it's like you can go either way. I mean, especially here, I'm all the time thinking like, okay, they intersect,
Mm-hmm.
so you have all these colors,
Mm-hmm.
and you either work them together,
Mm-hmm.
so they can make a something
Mm-hmm.
meaningful. So
Mm-hmm.
you can use your creative energy at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day under the structure of Saturn, which could be wonderful,
Yeah. Yeah.
or you resist and not putting them all together.
Yeah.
And then this, I mean, like that you in a way feel the limitation, etc. No, not that way. That no, I want to go all over the place. No, it won't work with Saturn at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it shows a lot of potential, and it's
Mm-hmm.
always in our hands how we use our potential, our skills, and whatever
Mm-hmm.
these five colors, or here we see the five colors better,
Yeah,
not
because
these
the
five
maybe it's the
colors.
planets, because your fingers are associated with planets, aren't they? And although I thought this was, I'll have to look it up, but and it does seem like the hand, there is an association with Mars. I can't remember what it is because Mars or Gavura has certain symbols associated with it. One is a sword and one is a five-pointed star, which gets confusing because that's used for a lot of other things, but it is quite interesting. Somebody pointed out once that with the five-pointed star, that the military often use five-pointed stars,
Oh, okay.
to
Yeah,
use there to show whatever. So that's quite interesting. I don't know if that's just a coincidence, sort of coincidence,
yeah,
not necessarily
Mars.
correlates, but it's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, that's interesting. I mean, so I mean, like it's like the potential,
Yes.
my potential, and what do you do with
Yeah.
that? I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, because it is there are two other associations with the hand in the major arcana. In the Hermit, the letter Hod is associated with a hand. One of the images is what did I say? Not Hod, Yod. Sorry, the
yeah,
letter. And it's a hand it's an open hand that's giving protection. And then
okay.
in the Wheel of Fortune, you have Kaf, and the hand on that card in the Thoth Tarot anyway, it's illustrated as a closed fist, but it's often portrayed as opening and closing. So it's just interesting to think about what the hands mean, because I think in the Wheel of Fortune, what it's trying to say is that because the hand is on the wheel, and I think in that case it's our wheel, our hand, and we're turning the wheel, because Crowley wanted to imply and suggest that we have more control over our lives. But it is quite interesting, the hand. I mean, I think with the hand with Mars would definitely be a different system, but I think there's something
And I
to
mean,
it.
normally, I mean, in astrology, hands are Mercury.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I mean, like I always sometimes joke, oh, Mercury is like I'm quite mercurial also. I mean, like I use my hands. I don't have, I mean, much
Yeah.
talents related what they call dexterity, which is one of the associations with the Mercury. That's more
Oh,
hand skills that we are talking about, but also like the body parts wise, hands are associated with the planet Mercury. So it's like
how interesting.
if
Okay.
you see
Yeah.
hands too much in the air,
Yes, for
there's something
talking.
very,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so it's like Yeah, that hands also, I mean, in that sense can be. That's why in Hermit, I wasn't surprised. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the Virgo, so could be also. If you think magician,
Ah,
it's
Mercury.
like
Yeah.
all that, like when
Yeah.
you see most of the images, you see the hands, know that it's going up and down, etc. Yeah, but
Yes.
it's like there are these hands that are playing a role there. I mean, so it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, I think, with thinking of Leo as starting the year, but you can, I think if you get rid of you stop thinking about all the associations that, at least for me, um it makes sense. It does make a different kind of sense.
It's like, yeah, it is. At the end of the day, it's all fire. We come to the fire, right? I mean, it's like big cardinal, etc. It's like that fire energy should be there in a way to, I think, start the give that first start flame. It's like the torch, no? In most of the places, it's like the torch. I mean, like it's like
Yes.
leading the way.
Yes.
Like it's just the start. I mean, at the end of the day, after the ace, there is the potential. You
Mm-hmm.
act up on it, but
Mm-hmm.
what is it? Where will this journey
Mm-hmm.
take me to at the end of the day? How is it going to go? And I think, like Wheel of Fortune, it calls on us a lot. I think,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're talking about Virgo, the lunar eclipse. The moon is in going to be in Virgo, isn't it?
yes, yes, it would be. That's the there would be we will have the moon in Virgo. It should be. I think the thing open. Yeah, that I have done the technical part. It would be at 23 degrees 58 minutes of Virgo. So mostly people who have Virgo, and also since the lunar eclipse is the we need the full moon for that. I mean, it's like we have the Pisces part. The sun is in Pisces.
Yeah.
It is like hand in hand with the Saturn there. I'm laughing a lot because it's like it's my no natal sun that is
Yeah.
eclipse is happening on my natal sun. That's why I'm laughing. Oh, great! So of course we never know what will happen. So it's like uh, always we have some idea
Hmm.
what could happen, what may, but we don't know. At the end of the day, we look at the astrology and see the potential and possibilities and everything. But at the end of the day, it's like fate, free will, all that discussion. It's like how much we have control over that. Then I think that we have some control, right?
Hmm.
It's like what is going to happen. At least it's like seeing things coming, and at least having an idea is a bit of relief.
Hmm.
Then you are going completely blindly into
Yes.
into something. I mean,
Yes, it's true. It's true. It feels like it, doesn't it? When you're coming into the new year, it does. It feels like you don't know what's coming. Because I was doing reading for the lunar eclipse and I was asking for cards, what is it bringing us? And what I got was the world, which is Saturn. So that was quite interesting. And
that's I think very that Saturn has a very. I mean, like I'm going to do fully in the following days the interpretation of the lunar eclipse chart, and Saturn is there. I mean, Saturn is there. I mean, at the end of the day, Saturn is just. I mean, like in conjunction with the Sun in
hmm.
Pisces,
Hmm.
and then it's like opposing the moon, like hello. It's like this, and then it's there. I mean, I think that
Yeah.
I didn't look at the chart. I generally look like with fresh eyes, so not to think about it too much. But
Yeah.
Saturn is, I think it's important, and I think it's with the full moon also. No, it's like it's
Mm.
always thought that you come to the or the eclipse, of course, they are more impactful with their, I mean, like a relationship with the nodal axis. But
Hmm.
full moon is at the end of the day, you started something at the new moon,
Hmm.
that you planted some seeds,
Hmm.
and either you are going to collect
Hmm.
the maximum, whatever it is, or you will say that, okay, this didn't work, you leave something behind, and
Yeah.
then you continue your way. That's the halfway at the end of the day. No, when you start from new moon to full moon is your halfway. So you have to decide what you are going to do in the other halfway, where you going to reach the new moon again. I think that's the um, thing
Hmm.
there. And also, I always think that that's opposition. What you have to do, put in balance
Hmm.
in life. No,
Hmm.
that what the sun in Pisces
Yeah.
is telling
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
and what does Virgo, moon in Virgo is telling you. And do you want that they are polarized, and like one pulls you this way, one pulls you that way, and you don't have any consensus,
Hmm.
or you just come a bit here, come a bit there in certain areas of life, and then you can at least minimize that polarity
Yes.
between them.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about the other card I drew was the Four of Wands, which is another, it's called completion in the Thoth Tarot. So it's another card of completion and it's Venus in Aries.
Mm-hmm. Venus and Aries. Yeah, that's interesting. I
Venus
don't
is
know.
in Aries now, isn't it?
It's but retrograde at the moment. It will continue like this. I don't remember now the dates. I generally forget. I write down and I forget, then I look at them. Oh, okay. It's going back to Pisces, but at the moment it's in yeah, it's in Aries. It's retrograde. So I mean, Venus in Aries, but I think the Four of Wands, I mean, when you look at the images generally, also Rider-Waite-Smith, it's
Mhm.
like there's more like a, no, there's a kind of a, celebration. But of course,
Yeah.
the question is that how much that celebration will continue. What is the
Yes.
source of that? Because, I mean, Venus in Aries is like, there is this uh, very fast, maybe way of relating, or just too much being enthusiastic about a certain type of values,
Yes.
but how much it will last, that's the question
Yes.
sometimes. How much it may last. And if you have started anything like that in terms of any relationships, any kind of maybe art project or something, some creative stuff, etc., with
Yes.
that enthusiasm and like that kind of, maybe kind of an impatience of areas. So
Mhm.
was it the, when you're during the retrograde period, you are like asking like, was it the right move? Did I make that first
Mhm.
step in the right way?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Or it wasn't, maybe it wasn't the best. So what can I do when I go back to the direct motion and
Hmm.
see if there are things that I can at least correct? I can continue with the same energy. Maybe there are things that I need to slow down, I need to fine tune, or I completely like ditch and then next. Yeah, it
Yes.
can be. I mean, it can be.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's such a, this is actually one of my, or maybe my very favorite Thoth card because of all the green. And I
Oh,
love
that's
green.
interesting. That's interesting. Completion. And that's four
Yeah.
of wands.
Yeah. Four of Wands. And you can see the ram and the dove at the end of the
Ah, okay.
wands. And there's the green is for Venus, of course, and the red is for Mars. And yeah, so they're on this wheel, and the fire in the middle, I think, is kind of like things coming together in a nice balance, and turning. Um, and with the Four of Wands and the Rider-Waite-Smith, I thought, oh, okay, now it makes sense, why it's usually interpreted or often as a wedding. And it makes sense because if you think of Venus and Mars, sort of, the divine lovers coming together, and they're happy for a moment, but they can't really stay together. And of course, funnily enough, it's obviously this comes right before the Five of Wands, which we've got. I hadn't thought about that until just now. So the Five of Wands, if we're starting, you're thinking about starting the year later, it's right before that. But maybe I'm making strange connections now. But it's a really nice. You can
But
see they alternate.
501 is the part of the competition, right? So
Yes,
that's like that everyone is
yes,
like competing and then trying to be the first, which comes with the triumph, the victor,
yes,
Victoria or something like that with the
yeah,
601s at the end of the day. I mean, but 401s, for example, Rider Waite Smith. It's a pity that I don't have the deck, but the 401s in Rider Waite Smith. I think it was one of the Robert Place books. It was saying that in some of the cards, there is a kind of a stage as well. There is
yes,
a line that is like a
yes.
stage, and 401s is like also that kind of the theater
Hmm.
stage part, which is like in the, I think, 10 of cups as well,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
that rainbow
Yes,
thing, which is
yes.
which we are in that rainbow period. So it's, I think, that the line of stage is also telling us that, I mean, like it's something maybe momentarily,
Hmm.
and we have to think the
Yes.
long-term part of it instead of like submerge in our, I don't know, like enthusiasm in case of 401s, or our dreams in the in case of 10 of cups. I
Hmm.
mean, like a bit also like shake yourself and
Hmm.
try to see the bigger picture. I think the long-term part of the stuff, because
Hmm.
this may not be what it seems.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes. Yeah. What is that quote from Hamlet? All the world's a stage, and
All the
men
world
and
and the man and woman are mere players,
yes.
as you like it from Shakespeare. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's that kind of thing. I think it's temporary and, you know, unreal. Like going back to, I was talking about my Substack articles where I talk about non-duality, the idea that this is not reality, that it seems real to us because we're here, but yeah, it's not real in the sense that it's permanent and permanently meaningful. So it is an interesting card. It is kind of a very temporary card. It's ruled on the Tree of Life. The fours are in Jupiter.
Okay.
So and that makes sense. And then the fives are in Gevora. And again, that's a pair. I was talking about Venus and Mercury down here.
Mm.
And so Jupiter and Mars balance each
Okay.
other.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
How
And they're
they.
connected by the strength card. Let's try to get the light on it.
Uh-huh. Adjustment, it's saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I put adjustment there because that's where Crowley puts it, and that's where the Marseille puts it. The Rider-Waite-Smith moves, it puts strength there and adjustment here, and the reason they do that is because of the Hebrew alphabet and the zodiac signs. If you
Okay.
switch these like this, it messes up the order because then um you've got Libra where Leo should be, and you've got
Yeah,
Leo
that's
where
true. That's true. I mean, they wanted
yeah.
to, in the Golden Dawn, I think they wanted that, like, I mean, of course, you have the planets in between. Of course, I
Yes.
mean, they are there and they are not, are they in order also? Now that question came, are they in order? It's like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they are in order, but it's like they wanted to, I think, put everything in order according to the zodiac, starting from Aries and finishing with Pisces. So they switch the places of the justice and the
Mm-hmm.
strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
Normally
Yes.
in Marseille decks, you will see them the other way
Yeah.
around.
They're like this. Yeah. In the Marseille deck, and in the Thoth, you put adjustment or justice goes here. across here at number 8. And that's why in some decks you have strength number 8 and sometimes it's 11. That's why, is because they're going by one of those two traditions,
That's
just in case somebody out there has noticed that and wondered why is it 8 sometimes and 11 other times. It's because of the placement here and the association with, and also with the Hebrew letters that go with the card, because with Lamed is associated with justice and adjustment, and that just makes a lot more sense to me because Lamed in this sense means ox goad, and so it's the chance to sort of nudge yourself back on track or nudge yourself off track if you're like, well, this isn't actually an adjustment. The difference between adjustment in the Thoth Tarot and justice is that adjustment gives you the chance to engage with your situation and consider it a little bit more and then make changes. Whereas justice to me always feels like almost like judgment in an earthly sense. And when I was first learning tarot, I used to get justice and judgment confused all the time for that reason. And so, but adjustment gives you the space to make adjustments. And so the ox goad as an image makes a lot of sense for me, whereas it wouldn't really work for the strength card for me. So,
yeah.
and
I
yeah,
Yeah, I think that goes. I think maybe the Libras. It's like that. There is this part of like compromising in a way.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes,
So it's like, and also there is the diplomacy part as well. I mean, negotiation. Maybe you negotiate with yourself sometimes. Okay, it's like, well,
absolutely.
it's like
Yeah,
like that as well. I mean, not
yeah,
necessarily negotiating with
yeah,
something someone else, but sometimes you negotiate within yourself. I mean, like to
yeah.
decide about your next step, which could be sometimes challenging for the Libra because they could be
Mhm.
indecisive. What do I do? Do I go this way, that way, etc.? But still, at the end of the day, there is this, I think, sorry, sense of compromising,
Mhm.
maybe giving up from yourself a bit, or yeah, negotiation, making that negotiation, which is probably more mind, mental negotiation
Mhm.
rather than heart because it's an air sign and it will more go into our thoughts, ideas, way of thinking rather
Yeah,
than to our heart, probably.
yeah. So it could, now that you're saying that, I can see how it would work with strength, but I still think of the zodiac signs. I'm just not going to give up on this one because I think that I think that justice belongs in Libra and strength belongs in Leo because there's always a lion in it. There's always
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
lion.
of
And
course,
so
of
yeah.
course, of course, of course. I mean, like, I think the strength, I mean, with different versions, it really gives that thing. I mean, like, that lion you are trying to control. I mean, like, you have the
Yes.
power at the end
Yes.
of the day. I mean,
Yes.
it's like, I think that gives you that message. I mean, even at the moments that you don't have it, you think that you don't have it, but
Hmm.
you can. I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So that if the maiden has the power to, I mean, like, know that
Yeah.
hold the mouth of the lion and then can put it under control,
Hmm.
then why wouldn't you do it
Yes.
for yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yes, makes perfect sense.
So we also, I mean, it's like, I think we started with the areas. We opened the
Yes.
astrological year, started the spring. Then we actually got into the bit of the uh, full moon and the lunar eclipse. And then also for the people who are interested in the the change in the places of the strength and the
Yeah.
justice, which in this case I think it's the last and the adjustment as well, right?
Hmm.
In thought
Yeah.
probably,
Yeah.
and all the also the um, things explained through the Sephiroth, the Tree of Life, thanks to Gwen. I think we covered a lot of things
I think
this
so
time,
too.
which
Yes.
which is nice. Maybe
Yeah.
next time we meet for the summer solstice, and this time we are like, oh, okay, let's go with the go Cancer, like
Yes.
tropical Cancer, and everything starts with the summer solstice. Yeah, I mean, I really thank you a lot. I
Oh, thank
always
you. It
enjoy
was fun.
our
Really
talks,
enjoyed it.
talks in any case, and I
I always
generally, I
learn
mean,
so much from you.
no, the same likewise. I mean, it's always, I mean, I have no idea. And it's like every video in the last how many years, I have all the time, I have no idea. It's like the Sephiroth, etc. But I'm not learning it. Some of the people, because I think I don't have the capacity to learn something really. For me, it's complicated. I mean, and I don't think so that I have now the brain cells ready to get that to study something. Maybe one day, maybe one
Yeah.
day. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that that time I will knock at the door of Gwen and say, like, teach me the tree of life. I'm ready, ready for this challenge. And yeah, it's been always, it's always a pleasure to talk, to chat, and then we exchange ideas. It's
Yeah.
most of the time, I mean, like, for me at least, it's improvised, because I mean, you tell me something and then something comes to my mind, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
start thinking at this moment actually, and
Yes, oh yeah.
probably, yeah,
That's what I was doing with the Tree of Life. Yeah, I hadn't thought about any,
yeah.
Mercury Venus connection with the Two of Wands at all, but it's there. Yeah.
It's like whatever we, I mean, show. It's like generally, it's like, yeah, okay, this reminded me this reminded me
Yeah.
that, and I think it makes everything very natural. I mean, I sometimes
Mm.
feel like in other videos, it's like, because I have a text, because I don't just say something wrong. It's like I'm not like an anchor lady, and it's something like that. But I think it was a really very nice
Yes.
talk, like always. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. As I said, I mean,
Thank you.
I will put Gwen's all her details on this video, and I will put it all on my social media as well, so that I'm making a summary of what we talked, so that everyone, and maybe put a short clip of our talk, and so everyone hopefully will enjoy. Well, while everyone is like about lunar eclipse, etc., we are saying no, there's the Aries. We are there. We are already there. We already we skipped it and came to the other part. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
It was really fun.
yeah, and I will say you to everyone watching us, and I hope that you enjoy every moment like we have enjoyed. See you in other videos. Bye bye.
Bye.